Welcome to MMAPlay365. I'm Newsome, and I'm here to give you a Baze AI recap from UFC Nashville, which went down last weekend. The AI hit 66% across the straight pick prediction accuracy, so much higher up than the anomaly dip last week. And we also had some really good predictions as well, some good underdogs, and some real different ways to look at how to use the numbers that Baze AI provides within the predictions, because of course Baze AI provides a prediction and a percentage for every possible outcome of every fight on every UFC event. And as always, we're going to start in the value section. We're going to start with Cody Durden versus Jake Hadley. Now, Cody Durden was my dog of the week inside the dog of the week package at MMAPlay365, where you get my favorite dog and the underdog with the highest percentage from Baze AI as well. And if both underdogs lose, then we give you your money back, and that's just $1.99. Just a quick promo in there. But yeah, we've got Cody Durden versus Jake Hadley. Now, Baze AI said that Durden to win was 51%, so that is pretty much a coin flip, but it's the 1% that makes Cody Durden the correct prediction. And at 51%, before you start adding in the bookies margins, the odds implied at 51% is minus 104. So Baze AI was saying that Durden should not have a plus in front of his line, in front of his money line, in front of the odds. But you could have got Durden from anything from plus 140 to plus 175. I was sort of smack in the middle of that personally. I bet plus 150. I went a little bit too early, made a mistake in regards to reading the lines, which doesn't happen often, but every now and again, of course, with the amount of events that I bet every single week, it's going to happen from time to time. But regardless, even if you got the worst line at plus 140, you've still got a ton of value from Cody Durden, from what Baze AI said he should be to what you're actually betting at the bookies. So you take that 51%. Doesn't matter that it's a coin flip, and it's basically saying that the Baze AI is a little bit unsure, because when you actually take that 51% to the bookie and you're looking to marry it up against the odds that you're getting value, and that's where you want to make your bets. Be in the business of making good bets, not just picking winners. But you want to go one step further. Cody Durden to win by decision was 18%. Now, this is where the education piece comes in, because at 18%, the odds implied is plus 456. If you looked at betting Durden by decision, you'd have only got plus 300, so there's no value there. So this is one of the examples that I use of, look, if you're getting underdog money on a fighter that Baze is predicting to win, or if you're predicting to win, you don't need to start messing around too much with props, especially when say if you got plus 175 on Durden to win outright, do you really want to be greedy enough to risk the extra bit of ticket money and getting plus 300, but Durden actually having to, not finish Hadley and go all 3 rounds to win by a decision? I personally wouldn't. And of course, from Baze AI's perspective, Baze AI is saying that there's no value in going for the decision, just go straight for the money line on Durden, and that was where the most value was. Of course, both would have cashed tickets as well, but the sensible value bet would have been Durden to win outright on the money line. The next value fight, and also another correct underdog prediction, we've got Carlston Harris versus Jeremiah Wells. Harris to win, Baze AI had at 50.78%. There's a reason why I'm giving the 0.78% and not rounding up or down like I normally do for these recaps. But at 50.78%, the odds implied is minus 103. You could have got Harris from the opener at plus 180. He came all the way down to plus 100. All the money it seemed to come in on Harris throughout fight week. And even at plus 100, you've still got some value. But of course, like I said, when you start to see the line dramatically drop in day to day, you will have had to have jumped at some point if you wanted that value. But anywhere from plus 180 to, plus 120, you're still getting decent value on an odds implied line that Baze AI is saying that Carlston Harris should not have had a plus in front of his money line, in front of the odds. And if you're getting the plus on the bookies, then that's where the value is. Now, when you look at the methods of victory here, this is one of the things that really threw me with Baze AI's prediction here, because the Harris knockout was 49%. And I know that Jeremiah Wells had been dropped and rocked multiple times in his last fight, but Harris does seem to be more dangerous from a submission perspective. And in a fight where Jeremiah Wells is likely going to try and take him down, I thought the submission would be higher. So Harris KO was 49%. the submission was 2%. This is probably one for the people that do their own little bits of research as well. And if you didn't really want to pick between the KO and submission, just because, like I say, if it was me and I was using Base AI to make my bets, and I did definitely want to go outside of the money line with this fight, I would have just gone inside the distance, because I wouldn't have liked the 2% on the submission and the 49% of the KO. So I just added them both together. And with inside the distance, you then get 50.59%. So again, the reason why we've got the points in, because Harris inside the distance is 50.59, to win outright is 50.78. So there's literally such a minor percentage difference between the inside the distance and win, to the point where Base AI is saying, look, if Harris wins, he ain't going to win by decision. So at 50.59%, the odds implied is minus 102. Now remember, the odds implied for Harris to win outright was minus 103, so there's only 1 cent in it, and the difference in line is actually pretty much about the same. You know, Harris inside the distance, you'd have got anywhere from plus 180 to plus 150. So it all depends. This is a really good education piece as well. It all depends if you went for the money line, or if you were thinking about going for the money line, where you actually took the line. Because if you took plus 180 on Harris early, there's no way you're going to take inside the distance at the same line. But if you completely missed the boat, misjudged the line, and it got down to plus 100, and you thought, you know what, I still want some value on this, you might have then jumped at the plus 180 or a plus 170 on Harris to win inside the distance, just to give you that little bit of extra value because you lost the money line. So again, it's one of those where you just needed to be really smart, look at the numbers, and just pick and choose where you're jumping at, what prediction you jump at. Do you jump on the money line? Do you jump on inside the distance? So yeah, overall though, really good prediction from Base AI. Apart from obviously Harris did get the submission and not the KO, the inside the distance was good, and also Harris to win outright was good as well. Next up was the Base AI dog of the week, which actually surprised me quite a lot, if I'm being honest. And, you know, Base AI was definitely on an island of its own in this one. But again, inside the dog of the week package, this was the underdog that Base AI gave. Ludovit Klein versus Ignacio Bahamondes. Like I said, every man and his dog seemed to be on Bahamondes in this fight. It looked like a really good fight for Bahamondes. You know, age, height, recent performances, you know, development. But man, Klein looked amazing in the fight. Base AI actually had Klein to win at 54%, which again surprised me, because the odds implied at 54% is minus 117. So Base AI was saying that Klein should have been the slightest of favourites here, but you could have got Klein anywhere from plus 185 to plus 210. So you're getting real good plus money on a fighter that, like I say, is Base AI is saying that should be the favourite. And for that reason, it's such a really good prediction. And it's always one of those where, like I said, when I first saw the percentages, I just assumed that, you know, this is one that Base AI has got incorrect, but time and time again, Base AI just proves wrong, or proves us wrong, not wrong itself, because like I say, Klein looked great on the night. So yeah, Ludovit Klein, 54%, Base AI dog of the week, solid prediction. And the next fight, this is an interesting one just because of the line movement, but we're into the solid winners section, and we've got Diego Lopes versus Gavin Tucker. Now, Diego Lopes we actually gave free, as the Twitter poll voted for Lopes versus Tucker for the free Base AI prediction, which we do every single week. But Diego Lopes to win, Base AI had at 58%. Now, at 58%, the odds implied on that is minus 138. So Base AI is agreeing that Lopes is the favourite, and he should be, you know, a slight to moderate favourite. Now, Lopes actually opened up at minus 120. That's the line that I took on Lopes. And again, it was just a really good snipe of a line at minus 120, because it closed at minus 180. So at minus 120, minus 125, minus 130, minus 135, you're getting value on that money line for Lopes. But of course, the longer fight week went on, the more that line got steamed, and then you'd have started losing value from that initial 51% minus 138 odds implied probability. So all in all, there was some value on the money line, but only for a certain amount of time. Now you go one step further, Lopes to win inside the distance. That's when you're adding your knockout and your submission percentages together, which actually wouldn't have been a bad idea here, because Lopes's jiu-jitsu obviously is, you know, absolutely incredible. Some of the best jiu-jitsu that we've seen in the UFC, but also he's got power in his hands. He rocked Evloev, and, you know, Gavin Tucker's been hurt and knocked out previously. So maybe inside the distance was favourable. Now, at 52%, the odds implied is minus 108. but now you're starting to get some plus money because Lopes to finish Tucker was anywhere from plus 100 to plus 120. So you've got plus money now on the inside the distance, which of course Lopes did win inside the distance as well. So again, it's one of those where if you miss the early line on the money line, it might be that you just think, you know what, there's only 6% difference between the outright win and the inside the distance. I'll take my value now I've missed on the money line on the inside the distance and then start to get plus money as well. So that was another option, and another option that again Bayes AI predicted correctly. Now we're going to go one step further here. So Lopes to win by submission, of course, he did submit Gavin Tucker. The submission was 26%. Odds implied there's plus 285 at the bookies. You're getting plus 225. So there's no value in the submission. So you're looking at money line, there was value for a certain amount of time. If you missed that, you could have gone to Lopes inside the distance. If you wanted to look further at submission, you'd have backed off from that and either gone one step further, which we're going to go to in a minute, or you revert back to inside the distance or revert back to money line if it's still within value. Now, the one step further is Lopes to winning by submission in round one, 20%. So now you are getting on the lower percentages because you're now betting on method of victory and in a specific round as well, which is always difficult. However, at 20%, just using maths and the numbers, the odds implied is plus 400. You could have got plus 500 on Lopes to win by submission in round one. So now you've got more options. Of course, the submission, you're not going to go outright. So you either choose submission round one, or you go back to inside the distance where you can get plus money and value. Or if you're still within the range of value on the outright win, there's the option there. So at the minute, with everything that we've given for this fight, the only one you absolutely don't play is Lopes to win by submission. Either pick the round or go less broad with inside the distance or an outright win. However, one more that we're going to talk about with this fight, and this is one we don't talk about enough, to be fair, in my opinion, which we probably should do, and that's, I suppose, my fault, but fight doesn't go to a decision. So if you wanted Lopes outright and you couldn't get that number, and then the line started, getting steamed, but you really don't want to put your money on Tucker, why not look fight doesn't go the distance? And how you work that out is you add Lopes's knockout and submission and Tucker's knockout and his submission. So you add all four percentages together, and that gives you the fight doesn't go to a decision, which actually added up to 84%. Odds implied 84% is minus 525. So Bayes AI is basically saying that, look, there's no real good chance of this fight hitting the scorecards. But the bookies should have got from minus 150 to minus 175. So even though there's no plus money here, the difference between a minus 150 and a minus 525 is just insane. So there's a ton of value. And actually, if you did miss, well, no, not even if you missed the money line. If you're using Bayes AI, fight doesn't go the distance is the best bet you could have played, using all the percentages that Bayes AI has given, all the predictions, all the percentages. The best bet on this fight was to simply just play fight doesn't go to a decision. So yeah, that's Diego Lopes versus Gavin Tucker. I think across the board, apart from the Lopes submission, a really good set of predictions from Bayes AI in that fight. And finally, just to wrap up, we're just going to finish off with the co-main event and the main event. There's not too much value in either fight, but some really good predictions and correct methods of victory that, again, it's just worth mentioning. So the co-main event, we've got Tatiana Suarez versus Jessica Andrade. Suarez to win, Bayes AI had at 61%. The inside the distance, had your knockout and submission together, was 44%. And then Suarez to win by submission specifically was 28%. All three came in across the board. So again, another, correct, good prediction from Bayes AI, getting the different levels correctly. And then we go to the main event where we've got Cory Sandhagen versus Rob Font. Sandhagen to win was 56%. And Sandhagen decision was 24%. Now, what I really like about this one specifically is in a 5-round fight where both fighters have got power and, they've got a good finishing ability, for Bayes AI to actually have Sandhagen's decision percentage as the highest probable method of victory, I think was really, really well put together. It was really smart, and of course that's exactly what happened. There wasn't a finish, and Sandhagen did win by decision. So although there was no value in it, I do definitely think that, like I said, it's a solid prediction from Bayes AI to skip past any finish in the fight and say that the most likely outcome for Cory Sandhagen is to win by decision. So that's it for Bayes AI's recap from last weekend at UFC Nashville. Of course, we'll be back again next week for UFC Vegas 78 to recap how Bayes AI performed there. Until then, thank you for tuning in. I'm Newsome, and I'll see you again next week.